Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed.
Well, thank you. The fundamental reason for forming political parties is to capture power through democratic means. That's the fundamental reason. Before now, people used to go to war to get power. But now it is democracy. And the PDP espouses this principle of attaining political power. So we don't talk of trajectory. We talk of a winning team. Because we don't want to be swayed from our ultimate objective.
So it's like a case-by-case basis?
Not really. Not really. Not really. The fundamental interest of the party is to capture political power, and that is the major input in our decision-making. We are not asking for an aspirant or a candidate. We want ultimately our candidate to be the president of Nigeria. So the trajectory there is incomplete. If I will use INEC, inconclusive. Because the trajectory doesn't make much sense unless you also put the timelines. You add up the figures, both in terms of tenure and in terms of what are the voting pattern. And the voting pattern and the tenure and so many considerations for the PDP is that we need to throw our ticket open.
But why?
By that, right, we are getting the best.
Okay. So, I mean, you have been in the party for as long, so you understand this trajectory, as it were. So let's go back in time, because you said you're not looking at trajectory per se, you just want to get power, and this you think is the winning formula. So in 2011, for example, you had former President Goodluck Jonathan, who at least took 1 year from the term of former President late Musa Yar'Adua, and then he spent 4 years. But in 2015, he was unopposed, as it were. But then the interesting thing is, in 2019, your party zoned to the north. So why not continue with that trend? So you had South in 2015, zone to the North, who was unopposed in 2015, by the way, zone to the North in 2019. Why not then zone to the South in 2023?
Okay, your question has two parts. First, you return us to what I was saying, the timelines. We had a zoning everybody expects to last the tenure of the office that it was zone or the region, which would have been, without natural intervention, 8 years. The presidency would have resided in the northern part of the country for 8 years. But there was this force majeure, the intervention of death. And President Goodluck Jonathan came on board. I'm a beneficiary of his coming on board. He appointed me as a minister. And I want to disclose here that between me and him, I have had discussion with him that he is going to do one term, 2011 to 2015. And we went out with Professor Jerry Gana and so many people to converse that the ticket that brought President Jonathan to be vice president and eventually president should be concluded, because it was a joint ticket. That is, President Jonathan should be allowed to continue the uncompleted tenure of late President Umar Yar'Adua. So we elected him to continue that.
So why was he allowed to run unopposed in 2015?
The disruption caused by President Jonathan to recontest in 2015, and the manipulation of the party guidelines, such that only one form was printed.
And interestingly, it was the same Professor Jerry Garner that sort of made that announcement that, you know what, we have decided to just allow only President Goodluck Jonathan to run. And that was for the 2015 election. If you were doing the calculation, naturally, it shouldn't have gone to President Goodluck Jonathan as the sole candidate. It should have gone to the North.
No. Please, we are operating a presidential system of government where the buck stops on the table of the president. He is the first citizen of the country. In our case, between 2010 to 2015, the major beneficiary of that tenure was President Goodluck Jonathan. So there is a responsibility. If you have an authority, you also have a responsibility to ensure that the right thing is done. To recontest in 2015, to me, having had conversation with him is heresy.
But the party allowed him to.
Incumbency in Nigeria. Incumbency. That's why we are suffering the incumbency of the current administration. We have not reached a point where the party can rise up to an incumbent president.
You know, lots of issues to raise, especially for, political historians who've seen this trajectory, but more importantly for the future of our nation. We can talk about the history, but then we have a future as a nation. I know that you have spoken towards having this thing go to the North. Are you disappointed that it was thrown open?
No, I have never spoken of regionalization. Never.
So you didn't want this ticket to go to the North?
No. No.
Okay.
I want a Nigerian president. I want anybody aspire to be a Nigerian president. None of the candidates goes to a region other than his own and say, I am here because I belong to that region. For example, let's say Longinus, just hypothetically, an aspirant called Longinus going to Sokoto, he will not say that I am here aspiring to be president of Nigeria. Give me your votes because I belong to the Southeast. He will never do so. Neither will Atiku, who I support wholeheartedly, will go to Ibadan and say, because I'm from Northeast and Adamawa State, a northerner, I want you to give me my votes. Nobody is saying so. In the comfort of their homes and on the privileged position of being in television stations, people come in and expound the thing and forget that we are a country that has been sharply divided by a maladministration that is looking for a Nigerian leader who can unite the country, who will now market himself on the basis of first saving the country before even the presidency will be useful. So I am looking for the best in the circumstances now.
I came across an interview you granted last year. It was published last year, where you said, I as an individual will be in support that a presidential candidate must be from the North. This was an interview, so I'm quoting your words on that one. But so you seem to be saying that from now henceforth, no more zoning for the PDP. It's competence henceforth. Is that what the position is?
I have no power to say so.
So it's, again, a case-by-case basis.
I have no power to say so. I have no power. The problem when I come to interview is that you push words into my mouth.
It was a question. I didn't push words into your mouth.
Okay, listen to me. I am passionate about Nigeria. Very passionate. I can't live anywhere outside Nigeria for 1 month. I can't. I have never done so. So I'm looking at any point in time for the best person to lead Nigeria. I supported General Obasanjo, who I read the best president Nigeria have had since 1999. I've also worked for President Umar, a friend of mine, may he rest in peace, and worked for President Jonathan,
right,
and supported him because it is unethical for him to be told to step down after 10 months or 12 months on the seat and allows
because of our time, we have just less than a minute. It's always quite interesting having this conversation with you, really, but I'd like you to speak to this in less than a minute as we wind down, because there have been agitations both within and outside your party saying this should go to the Southeast. Do you think the Southeast has a chance with this arrangement?
I am a member of the 2 zoning committees set up by the party. One to zone the party offices and one to talk about the presidency. I stand by that decision. They were all unanimous.
So the Southeast has a chance in this too?
It was all unanimous.
No, I'm saying
the best from the Southeast should compete with the best from the Southwest, with the best from the Northeast, or North, or whatever you call it. And there will be 4,500 delegates. They should be given the unfettered atmosphere to choose who they think be the candidate of the party with a desire that we must save Nigeria from extinction.
And that's the goal for your party?
Yes.
Well, we have to anchor at this point, but quite an interesting topic. I would like to thank you so much. We've been speaking with Alhaji Adamu Waziri, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party's Board of Trustees. Thank you for your time tonight. You should be focused on the job. You shouldn't moonlight, let me just paraphrase as it were. So it's not just expedient. There's a legal angle to it, the CBN Act.
So do the right thing. Do the right thing. That is what it means. Otherwise, you are in breach of the act which legitimized your stay in office. Do the right thing.
Just to be clear, can the ministers or whoever is in the cabinet or in other agencies, can they withdraw their interest at this point?
It will be the prerogative of the president.
No. Can they, not the president, can they withdraw their interests?
Interest in running?
Yes, in running.
They already obtained the form. They already paid. That is some commitment to the process.
So it's too late to back down?
I wouldn't say. The president may look at each situation on its merit. For instance, I know that some ministers got the forms procured for them, and they expressed surprise. Okay? If they come out and say, I didn't intend to run, this was procured for me, and I didn't say yes, it could be an extenuating factor for them. But the decision is that of the president.
Interesting. But what do you think this says? We see in other climes, I mean, it's easy for people to resign. I mean, just allegations of impropriety, not even, proven sometimes. They say, you know what, I'm gone. I remember a minister of state for finance at some time, some years back, who resigned, really. And people were wondering, this is not usual. But it's something that we could do. And I wonder, what does this say? What do you think it says about the members of the president's cabinet who seem to be holding back from resigning? Does it say anything maybe about their personality, their desire to hold on to power?
No, there's nothing sacrosanct about a position of office you are holding on appointive capacity. You are appointed. Nothing sacrosanct.
No, but you're now trying to get another job, as it were, which is elective.
Yes.
So it should be a no-brainer.
So, yeah, exactly. You should leave.
So it says a lot then about their person.
You see, something about position is that it ends. In Yoruba, we say the Egungun festival will always end. When we were kids, we enjoyed the Egungun festival, but at times it could be for a week, at times it could be for 2 weeks. But even the one for 2 weeks will end. That's the thing about position. It will always end. So if you want to hold on to it, no, you are being short-sighted. Because whether you like it or not, there's a terminal date.
Interesting. And this is the view that the president shares as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so as we talk about whether or not they will resign, there's always the question about their performance in office. And
let me add something to what I've just said.
Okay.
Remember the saga of the former Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, when the issue of certificate or no discharge certificate came up, and eventually she had to leave government. I recall that the president also came to the cabinet meeting and said, well, if there is anybody in such similar circumstance, that person knows what to do. So that tells you that the president expects propriety at all times.
Well, Mr. Additional, we're due for a break now. And I think we should take a breather. But when we return, aside whether or not they will resign, what it says about their personality, the whole 2023 run, is their performance in office. There's still a lot of issues that people are thinking, so you're just going to resign and leave without these issues resolved? But we'll go to break now. And when we return, we'll talk about this. Plus, Our closing moments with Mr. Femi Adesina, the Senior Special Advisor to President Buhari on Media and Publicity. Thank you for staying with us. As we wind down now, it's important to talk about the performance of some of these ministers, even though some might be resigning, but there's a legacy they will leave which Nigerians will remember for years to come. And one of them is this lingering ASU strike. Our students have been at home for 3 months now, and it looks like they will be at home for even 3 more months now that ASU has rolled over. But then there is this window of opportunity. A meeting is holding now. The Chief of Staff is chairing that meeting, and we have all the representatives. It's called the tripartite meeting. And I'd like to know, is President Buhari ready to resolve this impasse as soon as possible?
He spoke about it today. He appealed to ASU to consider the plight of students who had been home since. These are young people. There's a saying that the devil finds work for an idle hand. At that age, they can fall into all sorts of mischief because they are not engaged, they are not occupied. So he appealed to ASU to consider the plight of those young ones. It shows you that the president is ready to have this matter resolved and resolved once and for all.
But is he ready to accede to the request of ASU?
Not to accede to the request, it's a dialogue. That's why he got his chief of staff, who is a professor, who used to be a member of ASU, to lead the tripartite meeting that was...
But we've seen a series of tripartite meetings, Mr. Adesina. If there's anything we've seen maybe more of that.
We've even seen worse.
NIREC has stepped into
Last week, I saw something on Facebook. Alhaji Shehu Shagari appealing to ASU to go back to class. Alhaji Shagari ruled 43 years ago. And he was appealing to ASU to please go back to class. So that shows you that this is an endemic issue.
So the president will do all he can to resolve this?
Everything.
And we can tell our students that they will soon go back to schools?
I wouldn't say that. Left to government, the students should go back tomorrow. But then, the issues have to be resolved and resolved conclusively. So that in another 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 months, we don't go back to where we are today.
We certainly hope so, because this will also be a legacy that the president will be leaving behind.
No, it will not vitiate the legacy of the president in any way, because this dates back in time. It was there under Shagari, it was there under Buhari as military, it was there under Babangida, it was there under Shunek, under everybody.
Well, it almost sounds like this is an excuse for it to continue, but we have to anchor at this point. No. I know a lot of Nigerians are listening. And
yes, I wouldn't say it's an excuse for it to continue. Let it be resolved and resolved right.
Well, we'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Femi Adesina, for your time tonight. And we do hope that that issue is resolved once and for all.
Everybody hopes so.
Thank you very much.
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Well, so that's the first leg of our conversation, but we have another leg for you in a moment. It's a very interesting one. It concerns the game plan of the opposition People's Democratic Party. But just before that, let's give you a roundup of your political stories. Here's our political roundup.
President Muhammadu Buhari.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remember blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.